At some point on my journey, I really had to decide if I wanted to live in scarcity anymore. And that's not to say that you can get rid of your fear, because we're human beings and fear is part of that experience. But to understand the dynamic of abundance and finding it within you is a really profound experience. So to find that connection for me, it was definitely a spiritual ride, and it has covered off an array of things like my health, my prosperity, my relationships, my purpose, you name it, becoming a parent. It was all on it wasn't one move that got me to find, really tap into that abundance and use it moment to moment. I think it's built up over time, understanding duality and really using that muscle, the energetic muscle, to tap into it and move from that place. Wasn't one place, wasn't one thing. And everybody's story is different. So I've called upon some friends and abundance experts I know and love and to support us along our journey, because by no means am I finished. And I think that's part of the reason I started this podcast. And so I welcome you. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Your Abundance Podcast. It's a space for you to expand your abundance. I'm Erin Trethowan, your host and your guide on this transformative journey. And I'm thrilled to have you co-creating this podcast with me. You calling in for answers, me calling in for answers, and my desire to ask questions is a great match. I'm really clear about the fact that I want this to be a place for you to expand, provide insight, lessons, and tools that you can carry on your own personal journey to abundance within you. Before we dive in to your abundance conversations, I invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave a review if you enjoy what we share, because your feedback fuels our mission and helps us reach more hearts in search of abundance. So if you're ready to expand your horizons and blow your mind and step into the energetic world of abundance, and your answer is yes, let's embark on another episode of Your Abundance Podcast. And now a word from our partners. You know I don't just partner with anyone, and that applies to love, life, and business, because let's be real, I've learned my lesson too many times. I've been in business for nearly 11 years, and prior to that in marketing and advertising for 20. So I've used a lot of marketing tools. Some were okay, some were clunky and had no flow, and some were just downright no. The biggest shift I made in business was ditching the bro marketing models, the overcomplicated funnels, the outdated systems, all the things that made marketing feel harder than it needed to be. I wanted marketing that aligned with my soul, something that actually felt good as a woman in business. Then Flowdesk came along. If you haven't heard of it, it's an email marketing platform built by women for women-led businesses that actually makes marketing easy. It's intuitive, it's easy, and honestly, it's just beautiful. I use it for myself, I use it for my clients, and it's become a must-have in my business. It's given me back time, flow, and the kind of marketing that I actually enjoy. So when they came to me this year and asked me to partner with them, it was an easy hell yes. Now I get to share it with you too, and because I'm a Flowdesk partner, you get 50% off for the entire year too. Grab your discount in the show notes and experience it for yourself, because marketing should feel easy. That's the point. It's not just another thing on your to-do list. Now, let's get back to this week's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Your Abundance Podcast. I am super duper excited today because I have a beautiful, delightful, and her energy just feels so juicy and warm guest today, Tanya Gonzalez, and I hope I'm saying this right, Ortega, yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Tanya is an artist, a visionary, an energy healer. She is a family and systemic constellation facilitator. She is also an educator from way back.
and I'm sure that is deep in her heart calling. And she has gloriously said that she would love to be a guest on my podcast today. And I'm super excited to talk all things abundance with her and how she got where she got on her journey with abundance. So welcome, Tanya.
Thank you, Erin. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We were just discussing before we came on, Tanya is on the other side of the world. So she's over near Washington in the US, but more closer to Canada, which is exciting. And today I want to start with a beautiful question. I hit the ground running. We love that. I read in your bio, your healing journey began, and I'm really intrigued how that started and how that got you on the journey of abundance, because I think that those are the moments where we start to look at our lives and go, oh, there's something more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So in my early 20s in college, I started to naturally started asking the question, who am I? What is the mind? Who am I? What's really going on? And I just naturally gravitated towards learning about Eastern philosophy, and I read Alan Watts, and I read about all the different religions, and I just started to meditate on my own and had some interesting experiences where it was like, wow, my mind just stopped. There's no thought. I felt this inner peace. And so it was this thing that I got a glimpse of something like, oh, there's something more. And so it led me so I was teaching in San Francisco just out of college. And I was starting to have a little bit of depression. I felt really isolated. It was a big city. I didn't know anybody. Yeah, I just felt isolated and slightly depressed. And I went to a counselor and she said, I think you should try yoga. I was like, oh, yeah, I took a yoga class once. Okay, sure. So I found a yoga center near where I live, just in the same neighborhood, and I started taking yoga classes. Now, I was probably one of the most inflexible people you'd ever met. I couldn't even touch my toes, right? And I was like, okay, I'm determined. I'm going to get flexible and all. And so my body actually very quickly began to change. And so then it led me to want to go through their yoga teacher training. It was the Shivananda yoga organization. So I did this teacher training. It was 4 weeks in Balmarin, Canada. And like, holy cow, like something happened there where I had this experience. I was in a meditation and I was doing what they taught me, which is essentially, here's your mantra. And now you just got to go and do the mantra. Sit in meditation, just repeat this mantra. We were doing like 4 hours of yoga a day. We were going to lectures. It was really intense. You had very little downtime. But there was a day where I got to go and sit by myself. And so they had this little geodesic dome-like meditation room, and I'll go in there, and there was nobody in there. And I sat down and I'm meditating, closed my eyes. I'm doing my mantra. Now, I had a very strong desire to this concept of enlightenment. I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
I'll do anything. And if this is I'll do it. If this is what I have to do, I'm going to do it. And so I don't know if it was because of the intensity of my will or the desire, but looking back, I'm thinking I must have had past lives of being on a yogic path. And so I'm repeating this mantra, and I felt this light I saw it internally, this light, like the golden glow just started to rise, and my body kept getting lighter and lighter. And I felt myself going really like higher and higher. And then there was this huge growl, like a lion's roar, and scared the crap out of me, because I was like, what was that? Never in my life had ever heard anything in the meditation or anything like that. So I shut the meditation, I stopped immediately. And for whatever reason, I didn't go to any of the teachers and say, hey, I was meditating. This happened to me. I'm not sure why. I didn't say anything. And that's when from that moment onward, that's when everything started to fall apart. One thing after another. Suddenly, I just had chronic constipation, and then my hair started falling out. And then I started having these weird experiences at night where I was like out of my body in these other astral realms and like feeling electricity in my body, like just crazy Kundalini stuff. But at the time, I didn't know that's what it was. So so I became really anemic and
did the teachers, so okay. So the actual, activated the Kundalini, and then the teachers didn't say, this is coming. And they're like, no, this is.
No, they never talked about it. Not that I remember.
Yeah.
And so what happened after the training, I decided to go and the pull and the calling to be like, I felt in every fiber of my being like, oh my God, this is it. This is the path. I have to do this. I'm going to join this organization. I'm going to be on staff. So they have this works, what do you call it? Like a work exchange, or where you get room and board, but you teach and you do all these things. So that's what I ended up doing. I was in this ashram for 2 years, but my health, I lost so much weight. My period disappeared. My digestive system turned inside out. Extreme anxiety, panic attacks. It's crazy that they didn't even, it was not a healthy place. People often think of ashrams of, oh, it's so peaceful. I can tell you looking back, it's like one of the craziest places I ever experienced. Just I don't know how to explain it, but the power structure of the Swami and then it's very cult-like in many ways. So anyway, I got out of there. Yeah.
You were looking for answers?
And I was looking for answers, and I was looking for an escape from, how do I describe it? Just the inner angst of being human in the world.
Suffering.
I just suffering in general. I don't want to suffer. I was dealing with a mild depression already. And so it forced me into this it was 2 years of dark night of the soul. I felt completely cut off from life, from myself. I felt like a walking zombie. And so to answer your question, what ended up happening is that I had to surrender completely. And I was trying everything to get out of this dark night of the soul. The depression, the level of depression that I had I was suicidal for sure, because I was like, nothing was helping, right? My health was turned inside out. I was depressed. I was anxious. I had no access to joy or emotions, really. But I hung in there. And the thing that helped me to just stay on the planet really was after I read St. John of the Cross, his writings of Dark Night of the Soul. And he says, when you're in the dark night of the soul, it is a purification. And ultimately, there's nothing you can do. No amount of prayer or meditation is going to get you out of it. It's pretty much up to God as to when you're done. I read it and I still was trying to do everything. I tried acupuncture. I went to Reiki healer.
Do you believe that now? Do you think that it is up to God being what you know now?
Well, so this is God, your own higher self. I'll just tell you what happened for me.
Yeah.
I was trying all these things, and I got to a point where it was just so bad that there was a gentleman who my aunt and uncle introduced me to. He lived in Colorado, and they were traveling. They met him. He was a devotee of Christ, essentially. And they shared my story with him as far as what I was going through. And he said, oh, here, give her this. And it was a sandblasted sign that said love heals. And he had a little newsletter. And I talked to him on the phone, and he gave me some comfort. And part of me felt drawn to go see him. But yet at the same time, I really was at the end of my rope. And I just recall going on a walk near my house. I had booked the ticket to go see this gentleman. And I just made a pact with God, essentially. I spoke to God. And I said, okay, this is the last person I'm going to seek help from. And if this doesn't work, I'm all yours. if I'm just going to be crazy, homeless on the street, like whatever, I give up. I was like, I'm all yours. I surrender. That's it. And so I went to see this gentleman in Pagosa Springs, and I was not, had no connection to Christ at all. I remember going to church a few times, but none of it ever resonated for me, to the religion part of it. And so I got there, and just things were happening that I couldn't explain. Like there was two gentlemen that showed up, and they were speaking in tongues and praying over me. And I'm like, what is going on? What am I doing? This is crazy. And, but
it does feel crazy, right?
Oh yeah. You just feel like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but this is wild. And
But when you're at your last straw.
And Peter, who I've remained really close friends with over the years, he's in his late 80s now. I'll just never forget, I'm sitting on his couch, and he stares up, he's got this little bathrobe on, and he's standing on the table, and he's got like this sword in his hand. I declare you're Lady Liberty, you're free. Like he's doing like just wild stuff. And I'm like, oh my, I just started laughing. And it was the first time I laughed in 2 years. So I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So anyway, and so I was there, and I was only there a couple of nights. And I remember having this powerful dream. I had the night sweats. My body just was sweating. Mm. And I remember telling Peter, I was like, okay, so all of these things just happened. So what do I do now? Like, what's next? I don't know what's happened. And he's, that's between you and Jesus, he said. And I'm like, okay, sure. Sounds good. And I go home, and that night, I had this powerful dream. I heard this beautiful female voice that said, Tanya, are you okay? And I felt my soul come back to my body. And I remember responding to this voice saying, yeah, I'm okay. I'm a little beat up, but I'm okay. And I woke up the next morning, and all of my depression, all of it was gone completely, like that. I tell you, I was like on antidepressants. I was trying all kinds of things, and it completely disappeared. And suddenly I felt alive again. Now, so what this taught me is I spent my whole life thinking I had to earn love. I had to perform to receive love. Like, oh, I was the straight A student. I was the amazing artist. I was the amazing musician. I did everything really, really well. I was like the perfect child. But I had stuffed so many of my own emotions, right? I couldn't really be my true self out of fear of being punished or shunned or whatever. This idea of that you don't have to do anything to receive grace or to receive a blessing or to experience a miracle, like that you are already inherently loved and inherently perfect. And there's nothing that you're going to do that's going to make the divine love you more, if that makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're already completely loved. So that was a huge lesson, a hard one, but I really got it.
How long ago was that?
I'm 49 now, and I was 26, I believe. Yeah. I was about 26. Yeah. And it opened up this world because of the Kundalini, I realized, I was like, wow, there are other dimensions. There are definitely other dimensions, and there's more to us than what we've been told. We're definitely multidimensional. And yeah, just the experience of energy, of learning. And then eventually I learned how to work with energy. The Reiki part actually did help some during the Kundalini stuff that was going on. It definitely helped my energy to smooth out and settle down a little bit. So yeah, so I just ended up really passionate about following the breadcrumbs of just, wow, okay, there's something to this energy and our energy body and consciousness and the divine, like all of it. There's just so much more. So I've been on that path since then.
Incredible, really.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm celebrating you for making it through the other side.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there are so many people that have had this experience. I think it's coming out more and more all the time. People are waking up in these different ways.
Yeah. And there's almost this, I don't know why this is coming through, but this idea that you sat down, someone told you to do yoga, you sat down, and then all of a sudden you feel this transcendence and the raw, and which in itself activated the fear, really, because it's like giving you two sides of the coin in that experience, like the duality of it. But then it's almost like that then starts to get, that's why this occurred. Actually, no, it had to occur for you to become detoxified almost, like this version of inauthenticity that you had created unconsciously, because that's what happens in the perfect good girl, perfect grades, perfectionism, living life for everybody else. There is an absolute detox in undoing all of that. Even this morning, I was walking along and I was listening to a meditation. I was walking and I was feeling into God energy. And I was with God when I was young. Like I was very into God, like from 3 or 4. I'd stand at the end of my great grandfather's bed and he was on his dying days and he would tell me that God was there or Jesus was there or Mary was at the end of the bed talking to him. So at a really young age, I had this interaction with spirit and God. And I remember at one stage, I was standing in church. We didn't go very often. I went with my nana. My nana was the church goer. As a family, we didn't go unless it was Christmas, something like that. We were at Catholic schools and things like that, but we were standing in this church. I was not old. I was probably just school age. And I'm the one standing on the chair because I couldn't see and I just wanted to see what was happening on the altar. And I'm the one, like, I yell out in the middle of church, "Is that God?" The priest is standing there and my nana's mortified. It's not the different types of churches of can you speak out, singing like that, but no child yelling out, "Is that God standing up there?" So I always had this like affiliation and just this calling to understand it. And this morning I was called to, I was doing a meditation. It was around contribution and it was talking about what's contributed to your life, journaling on that. I was doing it while I was walking, so I wasn't journaling, but it was a question. And the other question was, what could I do now to contribute more? And the word guru came up and I fight against that word a lot. I'm like, people like, "You're my guru." And I'm like, "I'm not a guru. Please don't call me a guru. I can't be a guru." And it wasn't until this meditation this morning that I actually was like, let's just play in this resistance to this idea that you are this spiritually evolved person who does have conversations about spirituality, God, divine, you teach divine. At some point, the guru name is going to come up. But there was this complete story that I had held that I couldn't be a guru because I was a woman. Because every time I went to church, the person I saw standing on the altar as the priest was the man. And the Bible told me that men came first. And there was this whole story. So I'm walking this morning and I was like, that makes sense to me, but I'm cosmic. I'm multidimensional. Like I'm not even living on the planet with there's a God who's a man, like nowadays. Whereas there was this movement around owning the fact that God felt like a woman to me because I am a woman. And therefore, that conception that women aren't godly because read the Bible, this story. But there's this idea that we are not worthy of that. We were the second. Adam came first. We were the second part. We were the next rib. Like it was this whole evolution. It's like, I was stardust and I came down to the earth from stars. Like I was like, this is how we got here. This is a different story. But at the same time, that doctrination of what God being masculine, like we have to go and find the goddess in us, which is still not tapping into that unity of what actually abundance consciousness, Christ consciousness, God consciousness is. There is no masculine, feminine. But for me to shift it, I had to own the fact that God felt like a woman. And I remember watching this movie. It had River Phoenix in it. And it was a country and western movie. And not country western, country music movie. I can't remember the name of it. It's escaped me. But there was this song. And I remember watching it. I was about 12 or 13. It was called, it was written and it was, God feels like a woman to me. And that was coming through me this morning as I was walking. I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is it. This is the moment where I get to say, that's the story that's keeping me out of my God consciousness and my abundant consciousness. I'm opening myself up to go, yeah, I am a guru for myself. I am the guru energy. I am that Christ consciousness. As soon as I think anything else, I'm separate to everything. So therefore, I'm no longer in abundance.
Yeah.
And so we have that, it's that activation. It's like your story to have how you got there. And with it, I've had my versions of Dark Night of the Soul as well, but just that energy of understanding why, even things like, why would I be the person to stand up and talk about this? Who am I to be the person to talk about God and consciousness and divinity and those kind of questions because of the perfectionism, the good girl, the things that that world had planned for you. And all of a sudden the universe is no, that's not the plan.
No.
It's so far from the plan.
No, right? That's the thing, right? If I was so determined, like, no, this is my path, like, this is it. I'm going to be a monk. I'm going to live in an ashram. I'm going to renounce the world. I'm going to wear the robes. Like, I shaved my head, the whole thing. And my soul was like, nope, this is not where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Life as a monk is not necessarily for everybody.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
what I mean? How can you be a monk and live your life?
No, it was an escape. I wanted to escape. I didn't want to be in the world. And really, So that's part of,
I've seen that happen before with spirituality. There's a level
it can be seductive.
Yeah.
Seduction. It's very tricky, you know?
The dance with the ego, and which is the point with that I was making with the guru.
The spiritual greed, right?
What? I don't want to be that. This humility that comes into my being anytime anyone puts me on a pedestal, that's the same kind of energy. But then if you really lean in, God, you are all, we are the same unit. We are the unity of I'm literally sitting there and consciousness is just swirling. The universe is multidimensionally swirling around me. Like you're the cosmos. That's the reality of what that actual energy consciousness is. And tapping into that is actually how you then find more parts of that calling and the magnetism and bringing people into your world who are like magnetically attracted to that, so that understanding that's how it works will change the way you live life anyway. At the very smallest. I have to say that just made me think of, what do you think now you're 49, the biggest lesson, that's obviously the journey that got you to go, wow, this is something. But there is a salvation, like you learnt the salvation component.
Redemptive.
Yeah,
grace.
redemption.
Yeah.
And I think we were saying yesterday in the mastermind, forgiveness is, you can't find peace without it. And it's self-forgiveness it's usually not about anyone else in the end. Forgiving yourself. And that's where you find peace. It's the beginning of the journey. So as you move through and you started to experience abundance, because before we jumped on here, we've had a couple of conversations about abundance is usually money and wealth and prosperity. I experience abundance completely, like expansively. It's not the only, it is part of it. There's a part of it in there. But what is your journey in that sense with what abundance actually means to you now?
Yeah, what it means to me now is recognizing that life itself is abundant and it flows through you. So it's where when we get stuck in the lack, it's because we think that there's something missing. We think that we're incomplete and that there's something outside of us that we have to get that's going to allow us to feel abundant. And so I think what I've come to learn is just the power, the creative power that we all have to create our reality. And when I look back on my life and I remember I was a single parent, and I remember writing in my journal exactly what I wanted. I was like, I want to raise my child in nature. I want my soul partner, my soulmate to be I think I was super specific. I was like, someone like my grandfather was a farmer, like very calm, very salt of the earth, like very gentle, very kind and sweet. And I even put the age, can't be older than, I think I wrote 42 or something, right? I was like 31 at the time. Can't be older than 42.
Like, they say get specific.
Yeah. And so I wrote all that out. And so I was doing the online dating thing. And so I met my partner that way. And he was a farmer, and so I ended up here where he lives. And so I live in this amazing, abundant place of nature. There's rivers and streams and lakes and trees and clean air, and we don't even have stoplights. It's like this small, beautiful community. And my whole life, I've always lived in suburbia in the city and whatever. And so I've been here for 10 years now, which is the longest place I've ever been. And so I rub my eyes and go, wow. And I live on a farm. I'm living on a farm with a bunch of goats. Organic dairy,
I love it.
It's absolutely crazy. Like all the things that just come together, they just show up. And when we let go and realize that you are so loved, like the universe just wants to rush in and support you with whatever you need, it's going to be right there. Like you're always going to be taken care of. And even another story, this is another quick, funny story on abundance. I'm so interesting. We're on this farm, and we don't own it. We lease it. And the owner, he moved away, and we've been there for 8 years. I've decided I want to sell the land. So you guys need to be out of here by December. And this was in, I think, September, October, he told us. We've got like 200 goats. We've got like all this stuff. I'm like, man, this isn't just moving out of a little rental. And I was like, holy crap. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I don't know. What are we going to do? And finding a place to live. There's a housing crisis everywhere. I feel like everyone I talk to, it's hard to find housing. And, so I'm like, maybe we just need to get a trailer, and we have a piece of property that doesn't have a home on it. And so it's okay, we'll set up a trailer. We'll live in the trailer in the middle of winter in the snow and like all this, all the things. I was like, this is going to be crazy. And I was literally already starting to pack boxes, blah, blah, blah. And the owner says, actually, I realize I don't want to sell. In my heart, I don't want to sell. Like he tells us, I think it was like around Thanksgiving, around in November, like a month before, I'm thinking we're having to get out of here. So I don't want to sell. I actually want you guys to stay, and I want to convert this into a healing center, and I want you to help me run it. And I was like, what just happened? And so I don't know. It's just wild. So when you're open, like when you're really open to really letting go and trusting, amazing things happen. That's what I've come to learn. And I'm not a master at it. I'll be honest. I still struggle with oh crap, what am I going to do next? Or how's this going to come together? Or all the things. But
is a process. I don't think it's an ending.
Yeah. It's like you're just constantly, you just keep fine tuning. You just keep remembering, okay, I'm going to use my tools. I can work with my mindset and just lean into faith.
Yeah. And it's that dance between fate and destiny, and the idea that at any given moment, the ego it doesn't go anywhere. Yes, we have those moments of silence, and all of a sudden, and sometimes they're sparse and sometimes they're all the time. You're walking through, I remember we have a beautiful botanical gardens, and I was walking through and I right at this moment, I was listening to something and I had this epiphany, and then the leaf just magically fell at exactly the right moment. And exactly those things are the moments. And whether they're glimmers, someone calls them glimmers, and the other side of it is the triggers, but those dances, the more you play in it, the more you have them.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
But we live in duality here on the planet. Whether we understand the concept of there is no fear in abundance consciousness. There is no separation. But in the world we live in, we're very much living in those spaces of this, I am different, or I am this.
Right.
And the message that came this morning was around really, we're not, what was the word? It's not different, but like we're the same, but we're unique. I think that's the part that we have to, the uniqueness is the unfolding. It's not necessarily, I'm very different to you. We live on the other side of the world. We're different cultures. We're exactly the same. We're in a different place, but the uniqueness is what is being called out of us to create and change the consciousness of the planet and the world, I think.
Yeah.
And so the ego is there to teach us all the time. Otherwise, that uniqueness would have nothing to compare to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that's in my spiritual crisis, I was trying to obliterate the ego.
Yeah.
I really was like, no, I got to kill the ego. You can't. So that's just part of being human. It's just when we fully accept that, yes, you are divine, and yes, you are one with everything, and you're this amazing, like, unlimited being, and you're also this limited human. Yeah, we do live in that paradox. And so I think for me, what helps me to align with abundance is just remembering, like, you're just passing through. Like, all of this is just passing through. So stop trying to hang on to it. Let yourself go. And letting go of the control makes life more fun.
Very much. Tell me, as we head to the end of this beautiful experience together, how do you work with people with abundance? Because you're a healer, you're an artist, a visionary, and an educator, but I know that you have a business and you do work with, I want to say women.
Mostly women that comes to me.
Women. Yeah. Makes sense to me that a lot of women are awakening before.
Yeah.
Part of the process, our evolution. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen, to be honest. We have the awakening of women is actually part of it's like all of a sudden we can see things that we couldn't see before. Yeah. How can people find you? How can we work with you? What is the essence of what you're wanting to do in your bigger mission? I like the greater version.
Yeah, the greater version. In terms of abundance, family constellations work if you are struggling with abundance or connecting with abundance or scarcity and lack. And oftentimes it is inherited, it is passed down to us through our parents and on down the lineage. And so through family constellations work, we can basically uncover where those original wounds happen and essentially disentangle from what isn't yours to continue to carry, and helps you to see, okay, what's actually true for me. And and then with energy work, working with intention, and working with intentions and working with I guess I call it like quantum healing. Essentially, you can draw out what's standing in the way, energetically speaking. You might not know what the block was. You just feel different. Oh, I'm more expanded. Or you receive the healing and you realize, oh, wow, I'm not having that same trigger anymore that used to be there. But so
I find, I don't know about you, but with systemic constellation work and energy healing, because I do both as well, that experience, energy healing there's a lot of more, and not necessarily trust, but there's trust in both pieces of work. But there's a level of unknownness in an energy healing where it's a felt experience. In constellation work, it's the same, but what I find constellation offers is also an awareness
more specificity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Around what caused that. So it gives people, and the mind is always looking to understand.
Yeah.
And so I think that part of the work gives levels of understanding of history and the past and generational things that occurred that you now may be entangled with your fate with, that then gets untangled, but there's a witnessing in that version. And I find the energy healing is more of a, wow, the light, it's just let the light do the work, like a lot of the time. And you just think, oh, it feels so much better. Because I started with Reiki, and also I do down healing. And it's very much that, I just know I feel very different before. And that thoughts in the mind have disappeared and something else has come in. Like it's a very bit more mysterious. Systemic constellations, when I first got into it 20 years ago, there was this essence of this very similar thing. Like it's just this, it's magical thing. And I'm like, actually, it's because it's cellular memory and it's a very knowing thing. Do you know what I mean? Hence why they call it the knowing fields, because it's that you end up doing in it. You end up knowing things that help you and support you in your abundance, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think we're moving collectively toward, my business is New Earth Consciousness. You can find me at newearthconsciousness.com. I feel like that's where we're moving towards, where we return to this knowing. We just know what we know, and there isn't so much. I feel as humans, we tend to really struggle with, I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe we're confused a lot of the time, right? There's just so much confusion. And so I feel like this awakening, the New Earth Consciousness, like all the different, whatever you want to call it, that we eventually arrive to knowing who we really are and start to make decisions from that knowing place.
Yeah.
We just know what we know, and we make those decisions from there.
Yeah.
And they're in alignment with nature, with what it is to be human, what it means to be on the planet, like all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I often talk about this moment, the convergence of the two. There's unknown stuff that's moving, the emerging future, and then there's the knowingness. But the knowingness, each time we get to a point now, and I talk a lot with my clients about this really, because when you are a visionary, when you are a change maker, when you are the trailblazers and you're doing it differently, you're doing it first. We're not doing it first in this elevation of consciousness with women, but we are in a new level, in a new way. There's a whole another dimension coming, and it's this level of understanding, this knowingness. But when you leap, there's an unknowingness and there's this level of trust that the universe, God, will meet you with a piece of path to stand on. It's going to come up when you land. So it's like bringing all that knowingness into the unknown is the power of trust. Like I know that there is going to be a path underneath me, and it's one brick at a time. So, and that's how I describe intuition when people get to a point in their calling or in their business or in their entrepreneurship as a spiritual entrepreneur, and you're taking those leaps. It's such a faith in yourself, faith in the universe, faith in the intuitive information, and that movement to jump into the next step, that every step is like that. And that's why it's really, people find it so discombobulating sometimes, because it's like, oh, I didn't trust it was going to land, or I did. And you're playing in that energy of the known and unknown all the time. And it's not going to change anytime soon, because that evolution of unknown. And to be honest, go back to the beginning of time, that is literally what's happening. You don't know something you don't know until you know it, right? It's that level of trust in that convergence of the energies coming together that you do take the leap, and the path is definitely underneath you.
Yeah.
That faith that it's there. And then there's this level of hope as well, bringing the two together. The hope, I think it's
so good. So good. Yeah. Girl. You've got it going on. Yeah.
I love it. I just, like, the universe moves, God moves through me all day.
Yeah. I feel it. So, I know. You get to this point, you're like, yeah, and no more words are necessary.
Yeah. But I call it, in actual fact, that moment is, I do have a word for it, but it's effable. And it's so funny because I have this, I call it the fuck it code. So it's the effable moment. And we have effability, which is the indescribable ability to be who you are uniquely. And I think that when we say fuck it, it's usually when we're like, fuck it, we're just going to leap, right?
Yeah.
Fuck it, we're just going to do it. And those effable moments are what come out of those things when you do that. And they're the indescribable awe, makes the leaves just falling at exactly the right moment and the things that happen. And sometimes you leap and it's effable in a different way. You know, when I laugh, yeah, that was not what I was expecting it to be.
Right.
And that was a good test. The understanding you will be tested. Like, this is the point of the path. But you are also, the more you, I said this morning in one of my reels, it was like the hard ease, do things with ease. Like, continue doing things with ease, but don't do things when they get hard. Continue to do things when they get hard, because that creates more ease. You know what I mean? There's a process that we do both to get more of the ease and the abundance and the effable moments where there's no words. So if you could sum up for our listeners in one word what abundance means to you, not one word. I'll give you sentences.
Give me
one word for you. I will give you sentences and one wish for them with it. I feel like that could be it for the world. What's your wish for the world?
Oh, yeah. My wish for the world really is, I think that you were talking about the uniqueness. I really believe that we're part of this amazing kaleidoscope, and each one of us belong, and each one of us are, what's the word I want to say? A necessary part of the picture, picture. We're all needed. We're all valued. We all have a role to play in this amazing journey of life. And I feel that my mission, or what brings me the most joy, is that when we bring out our uniqueness, when we really tap into that authenticity, which is obviously, we're an ever evolving thing. It's not like you arrive and you're like, oh, this is who I am. Just that you just embrace who you really are, and you celebrate your uniqueness, and letting yourself shine. That abundance blesses everyone around you. And the impact you have, I always feel when we arrive to our life review at the end of life, like, you're going to discover how much you impacted people's lives. It's incredible through every word, look, action, just being yourself, letting yourself be who you are. That's the abundance for me. There's just so much joy to be had and so much love to be experienced. And we let ourselves just be open to that.
I love it. I love it. Let's do a little smile photo.
Okay. Thank you, Erin.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think, thank you so much for sharing with us today, because I think, I can't wait for the listeners to get hold of this episode, because it's full of so much magic. And I think your story is one that is incredible. So thank you so much. And like, for me, story, it's that uniqueness. It's the part of us that opens up doors for people. It makes us feel we're connected in more different ways, but at the same time, giving other people courage to go down that path, even though it's sometimes it's a difficult one, and that you can get out the other side, and to trust in the journey itself. I think life, my thing is, life is to be experienced, and so we're here to live it. That's how I get my fuck it code.
That's right.
Thank you. And I will just say to our audience, I will put in the show notes, there will be places where you can access Tanya, and I will put links in there as well. And looking forward to, I think we're going to share some things over in your world together. So that'll be as well, even though it's all the same world. And that's going to be just as beautiful. And to all my listeners, here's to your abundance. Have a good one. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Erin. This is fun.
Beautiful.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me just pause here.
And that wraps up another soul-nourishing episode of Your Abundance Podcast. I hope our time together has left you feeling inspired, enlightened, and ready to embrace the abundance that life has to offer. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on our future conversations. And hey, sharing is caring, so feel free to spread the abundance by sharing this podcast with your fellow seekers. And I can't wait to have our next conversation on Your Abundance Podcast. See you then.